Have you ever had a creepy teacher? Try having a creepy principal. This is Mr. White. He was our high school vice principal. Whenever you got in trouble, you would see him. So everyone was kind of scared of Mr. White, but other than that, we all thought he was a normal principal. Until I start hearing news about Mr. White around school. And once you hear what he did, you'll be even more scared of him than Mr. PJ. So as the story goes, Mr. White was working at our school when we got a new teacher, Mrs. Carmen. And they started working together a lot. And I guess Mr. White thought Carmen was fine, because he invites her out for coffee. And to everyone's surprise, she says yes. So they start seeing each other a lot. They're going on dates. She invites him back to her place. And she even sends him class photos while he's at work. And you're probably wondering how I know all this. I read the police report. Mr. White is having the time of his life. He's got the woman of his dreams, and everything's going so well. Until... Here's the thing about Mr. White. He's kind of a jerk. I mean, he starts being really aggressive at work, being freaky when he shouldn't, and even getting angry at Carmen when she doesn't give him what he wants. And so understandably, Carmen isn't feeling him anymore, and she files an HR report. And after investigation, Mr. White gets fired. And you would think after losing his job, he would calm down and leave Carmen alone, right? Wrong! In fact, it gets so much worse that he puts the entire school on lockdown. Because one day, Carmen checks her email. She gets a new message from an unknown sender. Righteous One 22. The email states that Mr. White had said bye-bye to his life and was found hanging out in his backyard. Clearly, Mr. White was trying to get her back. But if you think about it, how would telling a girl that you're dead riz her up? Like, are you on something? Yes, he was. Because a single week after that email, an unmarked package shows up to our school addressed to Carmen from Mr. White. Immediately, the FBI and bomb squad are called to our school, and we go on lockdown. After investigating the package, they find pages of handwritten letters. Each letter was addressed to Little Elf and signed WW. They also found a locket of a Viking shield, and it said, quote, "You would have made an amazing Viking shield maiden." Along the edges of the box, investigators also found traces of the stuff from Breaking Bad. That's right, he was on that blue crystal rock candy. Can you believe it? This guy liked role-playing. And you would think after putting the whole school on lockdown, he would stop bothering Carmen, right?
No.
Wrong! You're wrong again! Because 2 days later, Carmen gets a $1 Cash App notification with a heart message. And when she looks outside her window, Mr. White is parked outside smiling. The next day, an officer tells Mr. White to stop all communication with Carmen or else. So what do you think he does next? Will he leave Carmen alone, seek mental help, apologize for his actions, or send another email saying he died?
D.
He sent another email saying, so because his genius plan failed again, Mr. White decided to do something so evil that even Mrs. Carmen couldn't ignore him this time. Exactly 1 week later, she receives a new email from a mysterious user called Gato Negra titled Truth and Consequences. Inside that email were all the class photos she sent Mr. White with a threat to share them to the entire school. Easy go. And so after that email, Carmen finally agrees to go on a date with him. They make up, and she actually gives him a second chance. I'm just kidding! They arrested him after that email! Oh my god, he's crazy! Fuck. After they lock him up, the list of things he did was so long and crazy. But you want to know the worst part? He's still free to this day. Bro had the longest list of charges with evidence, but he got away with it. He must have had Saul Goodman as his lawyer. But hey, at least this time he didn't go after any students, right?
No.
Because my friend Elizabeth told me she ran into him outside of school, and what he did made her leave for her own safety. One night, she went to a bar, and across the room of all people, she sees Mr. White. And I guess he saw her too, because he starts staring her down. The whole night, she tries to avoid him while he stares at her. But when her friends go to the bathroom and she's alone, Mr. White finally comes up to her. He gets in real close and whispers in her ear, "I just want to let you know, you're the prettiest girl in this bar." Weren't you her principal a few years ago? That's right, he was flirting with his own former student. And the worst part is, Elizabeth knew every single detail he did because I read her the police report. All the stalking, all the threats, and all the creepy behavior that Mr. White did. So can you imagine how she felt in that moment while Mr. White was breathing down her neck, telling her how beautiful she is? Bro was trying to make Elizabeth his next Viking shield maiden. Please, can we stop with the Viking roleplay? Like, nobody's gonna be your Viking shield maiden. Except for me. Hey, no!
Look familiar? Scenes like these are happening all over the galaxy right now. You could be next. That is, unless you make the most important decision of your life. Prove to yourself that you have the strength and the courage to be free. Join the Jahan Squad.
Thank you everybody for watching this video, and I just want to remind everybody that all this information is purely alleged. Any relation to a real life person is purely coincidental, and I just say that so nobody can sue me.
How do you know that's the next video that was going for? Look! He did it!
But if you're interested, the demo is completely free on itch.io now. Slippery Slope.
Also,
Slippery Slope is the title of a creepypasta last episode where the author describes seeing a very strange short episode of the Garfield and Friends series. In it, John buys Garfield a brand new slip inside for Odie and Garfield. But unfortunately, after some playing around, Garfield flips and cuts his fucking legs off. Gotta love how the author wrote the next part. Jim Davis would never do this. Veteran says, this guy, he's dead. All respect to the original creator. I mean, we all gotta start somewhere, right? I Hate Mondays. I Hate Mondays is a creepypasta that follows an actual phenomenon that happened on the beaches of Brittany, France, where hundreds of pieces and full sets of vintage Garfield-shaped phones kept washing upon the shores. The source of these phones was actually linked back in 2019 to a shipping container lost in a storm wedged in a hidden sea cave, slowly leaking phones into the ocean for decades. The image of countless blank-eyed Garfield faces washing ashore inspired a creepypasta following an isolated man who finds one of these phones. The man in the story sees the phone was in semi-good condition, and he decides to bring it home to fix it up. And for kicks, he plugs it in. But to his surprise, it actually starts making calls. The first was a disturbing prank caller eerily singing the name of John over and over. The second comes later at 2 a.m. from a woman claiming to be his mother. At least it seemed to be. It had his mother's voice. That is until she ended the call with, "I love you, John." The author's name was Robert. That was not his mother at all. The third call the next day came from a telemarketer, giving a mundane scripted business line, until it glitched mid-sentence into someone or something entirely else saying, "It will get colder, John. There is an emptiness here, and we have to fill it. I can see you, John, across the echoing void. I no longer require eyes." Robert hung up immediately after this, choosing to still ignore all of these strange calls, going about his life and devoting himself to repairing the Garfield phone to its full condition. During his obsession, he returns to the original beach he found the Garfield phone, only now there's hundreds, and they're all ringing. Robert ran home and basically hid in his bed, trying to sleep it off, hoping it'd all just go away. And then, the phone rang at midnight. The same voice who cut up the telemarketer now saying, "John, Monday." After hanging up and cowering back in bed, he dreamt of the Garfield phone beaches, until he feels a sudden sense of hunger. Upon waking up, he now finds the Garfield phone to be replaced with a furry, tumorous mass resembling the cat himself. It turns to Robert and says, "John, I'm so hungry." The creepypasta ends with the grotesque description of Robert accepting his new identity, and now fate, as he willingly crawled inside of the beast's mouth, letting himself be eaten alive.
Apparently I have commitment issues because I've been putting off book storage space for the last year. So thank goodness Gemini
Honestly,
Live
I
helped me
just
find a spot
tried
to put a
grab my
bookshelf,
bed,
and Nano Banana
it
helped me
goes
visualize what
right
it would actually
into
look like
his
in my
head.
home. I loved seeing all my
Because he
options before I
probably
committed, but now that I have
get
these shelves, who's coming
squishy
over
and
to
his
help me hang them
border
up?
splatter. I'll probably knock him out for a few minutes.
Pop it and top it with Kraft
We can
Parmesan
call
cheese.
animal control
Pop it and
on
top
that
it on everything.
on Garfield. He's gonna be gone.
You can't
Eaten alive. Garfield.avi. Garfield AVI is a creepypasta lost episode, literally titled that on the tape, found by the author of the story. And it's pretty short and sweet. It starts with a glitched version of the Garfield and Friends intro before showing Garfield snatching Normal, taking him off screen, and, well, let's make this one fun. What do you guys think Garfield is going to do to Normal? A. Take his skin. B. Make sweet, sweet love to Normal. C. Cannibalize Normal. Or D. Send Normal to Abu Dhabi. If you guess cannibalize Normal, congrats. You're noticing a pattern with all these Garfield creepypastas.
Yeah.
He either eats someone or is an eldritch beast. That's the end of this creepypasta, by the way. That's literally all that happens. Final tier. Garfield Starves strip. The Garfield Starves comic strip is an actual comic made by Jim Davis in October 1989 that seemingly canonically says Garfield is actually a starving cat who has been making up the idea of John and Odie while living in an abandoned house. The last segment in this comic shows Garfield alone, screaming out in denial in the abandoned house he has found himself in, and then suddenly, John and Odie reappear. In the final frame, Jim Davis, the author of Garfield, writes, "An imagination is a powerful tool. It can tent memories of the past, shape perceptions of the present, or paint a future so vivid that it can entice or terrify, all depending upon how we conduct ourselves today." So is Jim Davis implying Garfield is using his imagination to write a presence more comforting to him? It could even explain why Garfield is so constantly hungry in the comics, because in reality he's actually starving. E.J. John alternate ending. E.J. John is a lost episode creepypasta about the alternate version episode of E.J. John. In the episode, John Arbuckle's cousin named George asks John to become a disc jockey for KDUM Radio, and it completely changes him for the worst, but at the end of the episode, he gets fired and he turns back to normal and apologizes to Garfield and Odie for forgetting to feed them. However, in the alternate version found in a Daily Motion link while the author was browsing forums late at night, depicts a world where John was never fired from his radio job. In fact, he becomes so focused in this job that Garfield and Odie are shown in a series of montages to starve to death. John stays at his jobs for weeks, becoming so obsessed before returning home and finding the rotting, shriveled corpses of his forgotten pets. Garfism. Garfism is a conspiracy theory religious belief that in the utmost superiority of Garfield the comic strip and the savior Odie. The Garfists, as they apparently call themselves, come from a Discord Garfield fan group called Garfcord. The user responsible for its creation claims this comic strip prompted the very creation of the religion, showing Garfield stumbling on the floor at the mention of dinner. This dynamic prompted an insane rambling about how Garfield, Odie, John, and Normal all represent different moral compasses, all feeding off of each other. The user related their morals to sins, Garfield representing gluttony, sloth, wrath, Normal representing pride, greed, lust, and John representing envy. All 7 sins, meaning Odie is a sinless being, something humanly impossible, which this user believes Jim Davis wrote as intended for an allegory about Jesus Christ himself. The lore to Garfism is extensive, with Garfists believing Jim Davis spent his life writing the comic strip solely to convert others to the religion. Bright Nights at Garfield's Nightmare.
What is this?
Umumusume, a new start. The battle to be the greatest. Conquer tradition or defy it.
What?
The choice
What
is yours.
is that? Fun?
Trackblazer. Start of the
I need to
climax.
break my back.
Get 3 scouts.
It's always so dry. Leggings it is. Try Olay Hydrating Body Wash. It's the secret to lasting moisture.
Cheating is a huge sin. Must. But let's be honest. Living with a partner like this would test anyone's morals.
I mean, do you have any idea?
But today, we're exposing the cartoon mums who just couldn't resist the temptation. Some of these betrayals are genuinely shocking, and we saved the craziest one for last. A moment in a super famous cartoon that 99% of fans never even noticed. Let's start with the tall blue-haired character from The Simpsons, Marge Simpson. While watching this show when we were kids, we thought of Marge as the long-suffering wife in the relationship with Homer. But re-watching the show, I've noticed that Marge has a wandering eye that Homer is too stupid to realise. Every time Homer slips up with something, Marge is in the rush to leave the house and hit the road. And she comes back after he apologises a million times to her. Come on, kids!
So this is the thanks I get for protecting my family? Please come home. I need you.
What about the gun?
It's gone for good, Marge.
How many of you remember Jacques? Yes, the bowling instructor from the Life on the Fast Lane episode. Marge flirted with him, and she was halfway to his apartment for a private lesson, if you know what that means, before she stopped at the last minute.
So, 120 pins later, I am the better man.
She was ready to throw away a decade of marriage with Homer for a random guy because he complimented her wrist flicks while she was bowling with him.
Your fingers are so slender, so feminine. The thought you tapered for the ball you're using, you need something lighter, more.
Garfield's Nightmare.
Okay, that's enough.
This creepypasta, written by Mediachi, follows the story of an employee at the actual Garfield water ride attraction at the theme park Kennywood called Garfield's Nightmare. The early 2000s dark-themed ride took you through a dream sequence of Garfield being taunted by all of his worst fears. The postman's dog, pizza and fish attacking him, and strangely the ice cream truck chasing him. The employee in the story has ridden the ride 100 times. However, this time, as the boat drifts into the mouth of the tunnel, the air smelled different, like old pennies and wet fur. He describes the usual cardboard cutouts and simple moving figures being entirely replaced by live animatronics, including Odie being electrocuted strapped down, shaking violently, and a bloated, skinless mass of orange latex resembling Garfield. The most disturbing of these animatronics lays in a pitch-black showroom where a 5-panel comic strip depicts John Arbuckle having a mental breakdown after a failed date. An animatronic John, eyes glowing, red and face twisted in a sadistic snarl, is seen violently strangling Garfield to death, while a sobbing voiceover screamed, "I want you die." The ride concluded in a silent graveyard with heavy smoke and a tombstone reading, "Rest in peace, Garfield." As soon as the boat pulls into the platform, the employee was greeted by another employee he's never seen before, a white ghost-like figure. And he only pointed to the quote, "above the exit door," a Jim Davis quote I just read. An imagination is a powerful tool. It can paint a future so vivid that it can entice or terrify.
Put a few things on. Try out some looks. Let's go. Diamond bracelet,
If
pearl
it
necklace,
said that
some glasses.
the picture is not for
Maybe a
this
gold
code,
necklace.
I just took it from someone else to say it.
Yeah.
Just stress sweating through my throat, so
Look,
scrubs.
look.
Totally normal, very healthy. I'm sure it's not a sign of emotional grappling.
That,
You need new secret clinical antiperspirant.
Tool. It can paint a future so vivid that it can entice
oh,
or
look, there's a comment
terrify.
up there. Not a
This
comment.
ride was demolished in 2019 and had
Copy.
all of the props burned, but the author claimed this wasn't due to an IP problem. It was because they didn't want anything left of this haunted ride to stay on this earth.
Okay.
Garfield fan art. If you guys made it to this point and have liked the video so far, please consider giving me a like or just hitting the sub button. It helps me so much, more than you could possibly know. Garfield fan art is one of the strangest Twitter accounts ever made. This user's first post might be the weirdest tweet ever made, reading, "Jim Davis is personally ashamed of the strip where John drinks a cup full of dog semen," a conspiracy theory thread. To be fair to him, there is a comic strip where John suspiciously definitely seems to drink dog cum, which Jim Davis profusely claims to this day was just birth supplement. Sure, Jim, sure. Anyways, this account posts Garfield-related media alongside borderline suicidal or threatening obscene messages where he seemingly roleplays as Garfield. His most popular post, caption, "There's a new king in town," was immediately posted after the Queen's passing on September 8th of 2022 and reached over 100,000 likes. Other notable posts include, "I could have shot normal," "I did this to him," and of course, "Chris Pratt has taken me hostage." These posts are unhinged, but not as much as his very last post reading, "Hi guys, John here. Garfield passed away in his sleep last night after eating an Olive Garden buffet earlier in the night. It was sudden and we're still in shock. I don't know how this could have happened, but I just didn't want you guys to be left in the dark. Thank you." After this, the Garfield fan account never posted again and remains a complete mystery to this day, which honestly to me is actually somewhat concerning, especially given the user's history of self-degrading and suicidal posts, including a post of a firearm with the caption, "Just say what day tomorrow is." Of course, it probably could just be a big shitpost evident by the other posts, but until a Garfield fan account reveals themselves, we'll never know. Thank you guys so much for watching.
This is the Five Nights at Freddy's Lost Media Iceberg. There are 6 different tiers ranging from most known to least known, obviously. We have so much FNAF content out right now, both official and fan-made, but it's rare to hear someone talking about all the lost media around both the game and the community. Obviously, there are a few videos here and there and maybe a Reddit thread about lost FNAF media, but no one has ever compiled this many cases of lost media surrounding FNAF and put it all in one place. So that's what I'm doing today. All of the entries are color-coordinated and marked to make it easier to understand. Entries that are green are lost media that has since been found. Orange means lost media that has been partially recovered. Red means that it's completely lost media with no official trace of it being found. And gray means the existence of it is unconfirmed. Basically, it might not even exist. The brown OM means it's official FNAF media created by Scott or a licensed company. And the green FM means it's unofficial or fan-made media relating to the FNAF franchise. With all that out of the way, no need to waste your time. I hope you enjoy.
No, I want some to this well-known Lego FNAF.
Lego FNAF was a remake of the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, but in Legos, obviously. This game added a ton of different features like a weekly challenges system, lives, and a shop where you could buy plushies, cosmetics, and items to help you survive. They even made it to where you had to own the game on Steam to even be able to play it, just to make sure it wouldn't be taken down by Scott. After the release of the first game in around June of 2022, the amount of praise and attention that it got was so widespread that the team behind it did the only logical thing and announced Lego remakes of the second and third game, all with trailers which are still available on YouTube. They are just remakes of the original game trailers but in Lego, but it's still cool to see and there are a ton of jokes and secrets in them along with just generally being incredibly well made. Sadly though, on December 12, 2022, 6 months after the release of the first game, the development team behind Lego FNAF received a DMCA takedown request from Lego themselves, effectively killing the game right then and there. Because of the DMCA takedown, the original game was taken off GameJolt and the second and third games were left unfinished. It's sad to see that the series had to end like this, and I wish it was possible for these games to still be made, but unfortunately that's probably never gonna happen. The first Lego FNAF is still available online, but for the second and third, there are only a few screenshots and videos uploaded to the Lego FNAF YouTube channel, which are pretty interesting to look at, and it's cool to see what the games would have been if they had actually finished development. Master your mind.
Ethan, not what that was
And all the while, you're on the trail. There's more to imagine when you listen.
Got you covered, Bumblebee!
It's Friday, gotta get
@real_Scott was Scott Cawthon's original Twitter account. Though he never used it and only had one post on the account, it was suspended in April of 2022 for unknown reasons. Some people believe that it was due to the controversy of Scott's political donations, but considering this was almost a year later, I'm not convinced, but it's still possible. The more plausible thing, and what I believe, is for whatever reason Scott's account was spam reported, and just like all other social media platforms, they just deleted it without checking. As for Lost Media, there are many Wayback Machine saves of his account, so the content